Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning back into the I Like Birds show. I'm your host, Zach Grippy, and on this show, we believe in Jesus, and we're here to help you get a better understanding of who he is and what he's all about. I think that we are coming a long way right now in the country, and we need to lean into faith more than fear. I encourage you to lean in harder than ever before and go directly to the source, which is Jesus Christ. So I appreciate you listening. This is going to be a good episode. Here's the intro.
People, are you ready? Let's start the show.
Hey.
Let's start the show.
Here's a quote for you guys. We're allowed to have bad moments. Let's not have bad days. I've heard that from two different voices in my life recently, and it always resonates each time. So this episode is going to be one where we're just going to talk about the benefits of being alone with God. We have an episode called Sitting Down with Jesus, which is kind of similar. This is kind of one that was written about a month ago that I've been wanting to share with you guys for a while now. So it's not one that is freshly written, but it's one that I feel like is always applied in our lives, right? And I can definitely testify to this. I love being alone. One of my favorite jobs I've ever had was being a pizza boy, because I would just be alone in my car with the breadsticks and the Drake albums and the mixtapes from datpiff.com. And I just fell in love with music, and I fell in love with just like the art of being by yourself and just learning how to like have fun, be by yourself. And I grew up in a similar situation where my dad was a guy that liked to be by himself a lot. Hold on, let me turn down the gain on this. And he liked to be by himself a lot. And I kind of resonate that as well. Like, I love being in my room, just kind of like when I was a kid, just by myself, watching a show that I really liked, or making music, or writing in my journal. Or I did love having friends, but I was still like, when the friends were gone, it was just me. And I always needed, like, even if my friends would come over for a few days, I'm like, all right, I need to recharge my batteries, right? And I think it's because we discover who we are as humans when we are alone. There's truly nothing better. And this truth is internally inside of us. And we know this is true. Like, we know it's dope to be alone because it resets everything. We just haven't spiritually, mentally, and emotionally got to a place where we're able to understand this objective truth because of what culture has done to us. It makes us feel like love from other people and acceptance and nod of approvals and just likes and comments and everything is the way to obtain true happiness, when in reality it's like we grow at our deepest insides when we are alone. Our inside dialogue that we have with ourselves, our outward expressions only truly flow when another soul is nowhere to be found. That was a little deep, but I mean it. And being alone sounds lonely to some, but to me, it sounds like a day well spent. It sounds like a day I need to check back in with me. Alone time to me is an opportunity to see how we're doing in this walk of life and in this walk with Jesus. And I ask myself questions that are only ones that truly matter, right? When I'm alone, especially like when I'm fishing or on a walk or come to the studio, come to the office, even just driving around. Like, I ask myself these questions in my head to kind of check in. I'm like, yo, is your family good? Are their hearts happy? Are you walking in God's will for your life? Are you working towards the light or away from the light? And I don't know about you guys, but alone is where I do my deepest digging. It's as if I'm looking for something that only God can reveal, right? And when I'm alone, I guess in reality, I'm never really alone now that I know God and now that I have a relationship with Christ. The society and the fallen world that we live in today will try and manipulate the meaning of words. If you can't tell, they changed the meaning of vaccine on the CDC website 3 times in the last 30 years. George Orwell, the book 1984. What did they do in that book? They changed the meaning of words. So, being alone, I think even that word has been kind of used into like a lonely, like depression, suicidal vibe, and it's been like, getting on SRIs, which are pills that make you feel like you're not depressed, and just feeding the system. We are like the most drug-driven society right now. Us and I think New Zealand are the only ones that allow drug ads on our televisions. And it's like, we see what's going on. Like if they do it here in America, the rest of the world is going to be getting the jab too. All right. I don't know if you guys seen what's going on with Nigeria. You can't actually get your money out of the bank unless you have the vaccine now. And Nicki Minaj spoke about it in Thailand. They can't work without the vaccine now. Australia, they have concentration camps now if you don't get vaccinated. Come on, guys. Come on. Catch up. I think everybody in here is caught up now. Thank God, because it was a long year and a half trying to be like, yo, like, I'm not 100% sure this is what's going to happen, but if you've ever read a book that is any kind of way about communism and just history in general, there's 41 nations that have tried socialism and it's failed. And communism is what is like the next factor of socialism when it fails, and that's what we have in our government right now. And the culture is pushing socialism in that direction, And I'm all for and I talked with my brother-in-law, or my future brother-in-law. This dude is his name's Zach. He just came through. He's dating my sister-in-law, Abigail. Talked about her a few times on this show. And we had a great conversation, me and him, man. It was very brief, but it was just about the whole system that be. And he tells me he's like libertarian because he leans more right because he can kind of see, he wants to be in the middle and not be, so tribalism. And I understand that. I feel like I always try to say now, I'm like, yo, I'm not a Republican. I'm just a conservative who tries to conserve what Jesus wants, So that's kind of my vibe. That's what I'm going for. But he said something really good about that. And then Nicki Minaj was over here talking about like, yo, you think they care about your health? If they're over here talking about there's no free health care here, they don't care about your health. And she man, much respect to Nicki Minaj. She just told 22 million people on Twitter and 147 million people on Instagram what the Democrats are all about. So appreciate you, Nicki. About time somebody steps up against the elite, and just the powers that be that are doing this whole thing, man, with big pharma and big business and big tech all colluding together and big government. And it only screws us, guys, we the people, So, by the way, I used to do if I would mess up on this show, I would like, not like edit something out, but I would like stop and re-record. So I'm trying not to do that anymore. So you guys are just going to get that raw and that real for 40 minutes straight or however long we go. All right. So hope you're ready. But yeah, man, alone is where I do my deepest digging. It's as if I'm looking for something that only God can reveal. And when I'm alone, I guess I'm never really alone because Jesus' spirit is there and, he's always there for you. That's why I love the song Talking to Jesus by Brandon Lake. If you haven't heard it, go peep. It's elevation worship right there. The society and the fallen world that we live on manipulates the meaning of words. Being alone is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Don't let them fool you. Being alone is the best thing you can do for yourself. Especially if you got kids. Where my mom's at? Where my dad's at? Moms can handle it way better than dads do. I will say that. Well, I don't know if that's 100% true. At least my wife handles it better than I do. Some call it recharging your batteries. I call it checking in with Jesus. Making sure we're good. Right? All alone is never really a reality. It's a false reality for those who are lost. That part was hard. And I can say this because I was once lost. Sometimes when I'm away from Jesus for too long, I'm lost again. And I understand what it means to sulk in solitude. I used to do that. I used to go to the casino and try to find happiness there. I used to drive around late night, get fast food, and I used to text girls that I wasn't really interested in and felt like I needed to have a girl around. I've been there. I grasp the weight of the hearts who truly have no other humans that feel like they love them. And without the humans in my life that I'm blessed with, I don't know how I would be if I was truly alone. I really don't. So it's hard for me to speak on that if you're going through that season of solitude and you're waiting on your husband or you're waiting on your wife or you feel like you don't have any more friends and your family's just kind of sketchy, and just brings you down. Like I know that what that feels like, and I have empathy for that. At least I try to. I got to work on empathy. That's one of my greatest weaknesses. And I will say, man, I would be different. I would love different, and I would become different if I didn't have the people that are in my life that love me. Our grace for those who are lost is who we want to reach, though. So we can't beat around the bush and act like people out here aren't like confused about what being alone is, right? And our light on this podcast burns in that direction for them, right? To reach those people that are lost, but also to just kind of lift up the people that are already here and be like, yo, we're trying to make you disciples so you can go out there and reach people as well. All right. So that's what this is about. I hope you guys are on board with that, because this is bigger than a podcast. This is a movement. The moral compass that you believe in right now is being tampered with by the outside world, if you can't tell. The powers that be are dividing us in every way possible, and we're going to be a place that you can turn to when you need a voice of reason, and at least just straight off the cuff, like I might get it wrong, but I'm gonna tell you like I see it, right? And we are never alone. We're never alone. In every struggle, every hurt, every fearful situation, we are doing this life with the one who created us. Amen. How can I not talk about the one and only in such a time as these? Come on, guys. My faith is growing as the outside world tumbles. How beautiful is that? Our inner circles, we are capable of doing so much more good than we were able to do with the outer circles. I want you to think about that real quick. We have an episode called The Circle of God Blessings, or maybe it's a blog post. I don't even know anymore. We're just going hard lately, right? But it's about basically... It's about the things that are going around in our inner circle, in our inner lives, are like kind of blessed. You know, God has really been honoring his people. I talked to my friend Kaylin the other day, Kaylin Fugler, and man, she's been being touched by the Lord, and she's been touching the Lord, you know? So it's like God is honoring his people right now. So I believe that the people that are truly walking with God are being blessed even through the storm. All right. So keep that in mind. All right. But the outside world, it's tumbling, all right? There is so much confidence that is brewed within you once you take in this news and you really just kind of let it resonate on your heart and your mind. And that's the coolest part about it, is that you can just kind of, you know, like, man, I go through stuff all the time, and like, you know, I dwell on it. But at the end of the day, like when my head hits the pillow, I'm like, what was I stressing for? God's got it. You know what I mean? So just surrendering it to him, you know, especially if you guys heard my previous testimony episode about Noah coming up here and me just at the altar just being like, God, I can't control the situation anymore. I'm tired of the pain. You just take it. Here you go. And then surrendering Noah to God got him here. So yeah, man, there's a lot of confidence that's brewed inside you when you take in this news. Why do you think I walk with a little pep in my step? You know, like, I struggle, but I'm the man. You know what I mean? It's funny. All things through Christ strengthen me. Philippians 4:13. What's good? Our greatest works are ahead of us. Jesus even reminds us this. We will do greater works than he. In John 14, verse 12. I think that's what it is. The more confidence that you have in doing this life alone, alongside the people you love, the better you'll be. Ooh, as long as you're good, like on your own journey, you can bring people with you in your life, in your marriage, in your parenting, in your finances, and even your pursuits. Don't you want to raise world changers? Ain't that the goal? To have your kids be better than you are and have better and bigger blessings? Come on, somebody. I'm preaching better than you're amening. That's what my pastor always says at Calvary. Hilarious. We develop at the highest level when we are alone. I truly believe that. We develop at the highest level when we are alone. And this is indisputable. The greatest songwriters write alone behind the keys of a grand piano. Think of your greatest ones. Ray Charles, Elton John. I'm not the biggest. Billy Joel. Come on now. The greatest authors write books when no one is around. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easy. Yo, that is like so true though. If you think about it, like, you think Paul was over here having company when he's writing his epistles? No, he's not. He's alone. He's with Jesus. He's with his Lord and Savior through the Spirit. Come on, somebody. The best mechanic is the one who doesn't need another man. Shout out to my father-in-law Sard, and shout out to my boy JD. Personal development is learned and applied when we get that sliver of time alone. Let's turn slivers into platters. Enjoy being alone. Don't put on Netflix and be entertained. Use your brain. Come up with something cool. Put something on paper. Read a book. Have a thought. Put on a pod. Record a pod. Come on. Get a TikTok. Enjoy being alone. Make the time for it. And say no. Say no to everyone else for a little while. Just a season, man. Come on, somebody. You don't need to just lean in and just constantly appease and please other people with text messages all day and Instagram DMs, and just take a little break. Take a little alone time, Take a little alone time. And watch how much your life changes. Experience the blessings. Enjoy the fruit. God will give you the fruit. Make some time for him. He'll make time for you and be like, hey, I'm going to give you this so you can realize that, when you make time for me, we're going to be all right. And I'm confident in saying this because I truly know the difference. I know the sad reality of feeling like no one is there. I used to make the saddest music. It was called, I have an album on Spotify if you ever want to go listen to it. It's called Barry Allen, Now Lay in It. And it was like a sequel to this other album I made called You Made Your Bed. You Made Your Bed was the first one. And Now Lay in It was the second one. But Now Lay in It was the one where I was like, I was deep in the feels. I was deep. I was heartbroken. Let's just say that. But it was like dope writing though. Like I look back and I'm like, ooh, wee, that boy got bars. Even though like my flow was off because I didn't really know how to do music, but bars are fire though. And I know the voice in your head that tries to convince you out of doing something special. Ooh, I know that voice. And that voice is toxic. It's the enemy. It's terrible. It defeats you. It's the only thing that's working against you. And I know the self-loathing and the self-pity and the self-righteousness, and I no longer want anything to do with it. I want my ego eliminated and my faith elevated. And we as humans, we have dominion over this earth that God gave us, and we squander it when we start being caught up in the news cycles, social media stats, and the constant fears that they push our way, that we're over here just like, it's eating us. We're consuming it, and it's eating our flesh. It's eating our souls. It really is. And that's how the enemy wants it right now. Let's not give that to him. Let's not get my camera's off. Let's not give that to him, y'all. Let's not give that to him. Guys, I don't know if you're listening to the audio. Some of y'all watching the video. I'm actually filming this right now. And I really like the way it turns out. It makes me have more energy and more like a lively spirit to it when I film it. So I'm super pumped, y'all. Please go subscribe to the YouTube. I'm going to put the link in my Instagram bio, and I'll be posting it on Facebook as well. We're going to do a YouTube relaunch, and I really want y'all to come through because we're going to be making way more content, way more videos, way more broader discussions too, because my father called me and he made a great point that he was very sweet. He gave me a lot of nice words about my knowledge about the economy and politics is fairly decent for somebody my age, and I could evolve the podcast and even talk about some more things of that nature, because I would love to talk to you guys about the economy because I study it quite frequently, actually daily, to be honest with you guys. I always make a little bit of time to check in and see what's going on and just read some stuff, and I read a lot of finance books and articles and stuff like that. So I want to start making some stuff to help you guys get a little bit more prosperous with your finances. I'm a big believer in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I'm also a big believer in just smart investing and hard assets and whatnot, especially in the times that we're living in. And I would just love to give you guys some more insight. So I'm going to start making some videos on my YouTube channel. I'm just going to make it I Like Birds to make it simple, but we're just going to have different stuff on YouTube than we have on the podcast app and then on my Instagram and stuff like that. So we're just going to kind of expand a little bit, and please help me like get more subscribers and followers. When you share it, it just makes the show grow, and it just makes people hear the truth a little bit more and the gospel. So I appreciate that, guys. Please be on the lookout for that. And your support just always means the world, especially when it comes to your ears. So thank you so much. So yeah, let's get back to the show though. We worry about the wrong things when we should be praising for all the positive things, right? We do this a lot. And I just went through this completely the other day in this last season where I was praising God for like 4 days because of the Noah miracle that happened of him coming here, and just that whole situation was all the hand of God, right? So I'm praising for 4 days straight, and the next thing you know, I'm just getting attacked, man. Where it was just like so many things in my life were just feeling like, it was like I had all the blessings, and then they all kind of just seemed like there was a hole in the boat, if that makes sense. Like things were just making the boat go down still, for even though it's like I had all the dope stuff on the boat was still sinking, right? So that's kind of the season that I was just recently in, and I'm still coming out of that. So I get it. Sometimes we worry about the wrong things when we should be praising for all the positive things, but that's just the enemy trying to distract you, man. He attacks, he gets in your mind, he makes you fall back into like a sin, or like he tempts you in certain ways. It's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy the spiritual war that goes on a constant daily basis. So just me personally speaking, I just know that it's possible out there. So just be in the word, man, as much as possible. And that's why I love when people tune into this show so quickly when it drops. And I'm like, oh, that means people are like thirsting for this show. They're thirsting for the word, right? So I haven't gone to Bible centric episode in a while. That's just because I'm doing that on my own. But man, there's just so much happening in the walk of Zach Rippey right now that I have to share with you guys, so that it'll be able to get you kind of up to speed of like, yo, God be moving like big time, right? So anyway, let's get back to the written word though. We're worried about the things that we should be praising for all the positive things, right? And you are only able to fully connect with reality when you are comfortable with being alone. And sitting in solitude will seduce your heart and thoughts into doing bigger and better things. You start to see the fruit of what you want and just what you desire and what God puts on your heart. God shut some doors recently that I was like, thank you for shutting those doors, because that was so stressful. I didn't want to do that. Why did my stupid fleshly self think I wanted to do that? I didn't want to buy another RV that was 8 feet bigger. I already have an RV. What am I doing? It did have a room though, and it had a way bigger living room and stuff. So had a room for the kids too, so, and an outside kitchen, but I just didn't want to deal with the whole thing. All the things that went about going to pick it up, getting the cash out, moving money around, having to figure out where we're going to park it. We're going to have to refurbish a few different things and renovate a couple different things, and then move it back into this other spot. Is this a nightmare? It's like, bro, I'm trying to grow my pot. I'm not trying to move into another RV, but my fleshly feelings of like, oh, we need to do this. It's like, no, you don't. God completely shut the door. It was crazy. And I was so grateful he did, right? And the confidence that sprouts in you as you water your soul is one that I can't describe to you, but it is. I want more of it every day. Okay, I want to water my soul every day with Jesus. Okay, I want to start my day with Jesus and end my day with Jesus every day. And it's as if there was a storm outside and the doors swing open and the presence of God fills the room when you open up that word. And being alone allows you to sit and seek him. A rebalance between you and who you are and who they want you to be. You kind of start to see like, oh, they want me to be on a 9 to 5. Oh, they want me to be in debt. Oh, they want me to not have control of my own body. Come on, baby. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to go even harder in the paint against it. I'm going to lead people with me. Come on, somebody. And that's the thing, man. I'm going to be the voice. If you can't be the voice because you got a job that is, I know a dude that just got fired for speaking the truth about his politics. And he worked at a pharmaceutical company. Yeah, shawty. They out here. Nurses getting fired. Come on, son. Come on. I'm saying come on, somebody, because like I'm hype and I'm looking at the camera. So give me some grace on the repeating of the same thing. Yeah, but this sit down and seek moment brings you back down to the beautiful person that God designed you to be. He created you. And he wants you to have a relationship with him. He wants you to worship him. He's a jealous God. And he rocks with you. More than the angels, my guy. You know how many chances we get to repent and turn back to the Lord? And hell is just the opposite of God. It really is just a place after life that you go to that's created for Satan and his people. And don't think Satan rules hell, because he has no dominion. It's just everybody's there in this darkness away from God. And I don't like the imagery of like people burning, because like religion has kind of made that like a consequence of like, if you don't turn to Jesus, this is what happens. And like, that's not what it is, guys. That's not what it is. What it is you don't want to be there. You don't want to be away from Christ. I'm telling you, you don't, because I've seen the beauty of being with Christ. I've seen the beauty of being with Christ. And with that being said, my eternal life, oh, if I miss out on that, that's a sad day. That is a sad day for my family and my everything, man. I was created and I read the entire New Testament and I couldn't even go through with it. I couldn't obey. I couldn't turn away from sin. You know, it's like, and at the end of the day, Jesus helps you do that, but you have to, it's a choice. It's a free will to lean into him. And my voice on this platform is a voice that wants to help you and other people that have yet to hear this show. So when I say share this show, it's like, yo, let's get these souls saved. I want to be a soul winner and a multiplier, which means I want the person that listens to this show that gets on fire for the Lord. I'm just going to name some names. Virginia likes the show. She shared it with somebody at her hospital, her boss or something like that. And she messaged me about it, and I'm super hype, and I'm hoping that her friend listens to this show. And then, you know, we got Kelly, Drake, and Armani's family and friends that all kind of listen to this show as it moves along forward. And we just have faithful people that listen to this show. I want you to be a multiplier and not just spread the show, but spread the gospel. All right. And just being a living testimony for Christ in all things you do. I wrote a speech for Virginia too. And she was like, I want to put on for Jesus in this speech. And I'm like, let's go. Way not to be shy with the faith, girl. She got me hyped, man. I'm super pumped for her. I never really talked to her in high school, but talking to her now, you never know who you're going to reach. My childhood friend Chelsea hit me up. Her mom hit me up. Shout out to Teresa. Constantly listening to the show, growing in their faith. Excited to tell people about the show. Come on. Supporting the show, getting shirts, all that stuff. Like Kelly Ray, Amy from church. Got a lot of new listeners, a lot of new people waiting to hear what's coming. But I want y'all to be the multipliers. I want y'all to go out there and be disciples for somebody and make disciples. All right? Everybody needs a Timothy, everybody needs a Paul, and everybody needs a Barbaros. I don't know if I said the last name right. Everybody needs somebody that's their mentor. Everybody needs somebody that's their equal. And everybody needs somebody that they can mentor. All right? But in the faith and into Jesus. All right? And that means like being straight up and being like, yo, you're struggling with this sin. Yo, you need to like break that chain. We're going to have you delivered for that. We're going to be praying for you on that. We need to be making an effort. We need to find a way to get you away from that bondage that you have. You know? Like, come on, man. I'm freaking hype right now. And I came to the office today not even expecting to do a podcast. I just was like so excited because I just did 2 and like, man, it just felt so good to be back. And I have a video guy that's gonna like, he's from another country and he's just helping me out with some videos for the Lolo. And he's just been awesome, man. I really appreciate him. He's been helping me just make it like the way I wanted to make it. And I didn't even know which path I wanted to go down. And he just helped me see the vision so clearly. So much grateful for that, guys. So there's going to be videos, man. So please subscribe to the YouTube. And if I make a TikTok, subscribe to that too if you have one. Man, I just can't even see myself taking on another social media platform. But I'm just going to be a poster, not a consumer. All right. So, and I'll check DMs, of course, like that. And that's what I do on Instagram now. I'll check in on a few peeps and I'll check DMs and then I'll post. So it's really like people think I'm on there all day. I'm just posting all day. I'm not on there. Trust me. I'm just dropping bird drops, you know? And I just want everybody to feel the way I do when I go solo and go down the path that was laid out for nobody but me, right? We all have our own path and God has a plan and a calling for each of our lives. New pathways open in my brain as I distance myself from the clock. It's as if clocks were invented so that we can figure out how long until the next time we get to be alone. A clock is an extremely intellectual invention. It changed everything, in some good ways and in some bad. The clock took us out of living with God, though, and it put us on a system that leads us to despair. And I don't want to be on the hamster wheel. I don't want to be how they want me to be. I crave the truth, and everything is a lie. Everything is an illusion. And even more so, I am on a pursuit to discover my true identity in Christ, not gender identity. And God knows every little hair on our heads. And once we start seeing our beauty in the eyes of God, we begin to reach our full potential. And I say this is a call to action. Make yourself available. It's rarely discussed. Being available to yourself, to your family, and most importantly, your God is imperative to reaching maximum levels of success. There is fruit on the other side of your self-availability. Removing the clock from your life and making your days feel like chapters in a book. Do our windows get foggy sometimes and we misprioritize what's important? Surely. We are all flesh. We slip up. We get off the path. We forget to check in. Here's the good news. The road is always there for you when you come back off that exit. And what does that road look like for you? Is it God? Is it self-improvement? Is it self-love? Is it personal growth 101? What path are you going down in your life to achieve true happiness? I promise it's possible. I wouldn't be on this pursuit if it wasn't possible. I've seen it. I've had a glimpse of it. But I want consistently true happiness and joy, the fruits of the Spirit. And that comes through sanctification. That comes from doing God's will. That comes from obeying his commands. That comes from fellowship. That comes from other believers in your life that are lifting you up and not tearing you down. You're not the only one with a pool. Remember that episode. And I've experienced it. Some days it's fleeting happiness. Most days it's prosperous when you start with Jesus and you end with Jesus. And we are allowed to have bad moments. Let's just not have bad days. Every day is a blessing and an opportunity to get 1% better. So many people around the world didn't wake up today. So many people around the world woke up in just sad fear, just disgust with the life that's around them and they're going through. So many people around the world just got some really bad health news. So many people around the world don't know where their next meal's coming from. And we have it so good and are so loved. We have a purpose in this world, and that purpose is to be the light. So many people don't have the light. They don't see the light. They don't know the light. They don't know Christ. They have a misconstrued interpretation of who he is based on our culture and our church system and our religion and what the world tells them about Jesus. And that's the thing about this show. I kind of listen to the world tell me about Jesus until I open up the word. Until I said, what does the word say? What does John say? Ooh, John. You already know I love John. And the light brings us confidence. Like, you know, there's a lot of things in my life that I'm proud of, but there's a lot of things I'm like, man, I can't wait to get out of this situation. Like, I'm in a tiny RV right now, and like, it's cool. It's cool when you're traveling, when you're in an RV. But when you're like stationary in an RV with 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old and a baby on the way, sometimes you feel like you're not making it. All right. Sometimes you're like, I just need a house, you know, and we're going to get there one day. We're going to get there. We just got The Office. Come on. The shows are going to be sponsored soon. I can feel it. Something in my bones that says somebody's going to sponsor this show. Let me know if you know anybody that wants to sponsor the show. And the light helps us be okay with being alone. It helps us be okay through the storm. It helps us be okay when we see the holes in the bottom of the boat. And the light will lead us as we navigate these rocky roads. The path to the light is narrow, and only a few get through the gate. But I'm confident you and I can take that path. We do that by simply following Jesus Christ and being obedient to his word. And I'll leave you with this. We all want to reach people. We want to reach all people on this show. We have you in mind, but that's the you that God puts in front of us. The big piece to the puzzle here is knowing God and his word. Knowing what he says to us and him, knowing what we have to say to him. So like when we're praying, like it's a two-way conversation. It's a two-way relationship. Okay? His word, but you got to pray. Okay? Journaling while studying the Bible is like going on a long walk on the mountains with God himself. Just having a conversation with him. It's the one thing that you can put in your hands right now and change your life forever. So I encourage you to get a journal. This podcast was a seed for me to tell you about we will continue seeking the Lord and leading people to his word unapologetically. Pod. All right. Thank you for being a part of it. Please share this episode and this YouTube and the video, whatever you're watching, whatever you're looking at, with every human you can think of that would enjoy this. Until next time, friends, I like birds.